for joining us this morning. Hello and welcome to Business Daily. I'm your host, Lee Ji-yoon. Before we get started, let's first take a look at today's highlights. We take a closer look at Korea's car-sharing service and how it has evolved since it launched in 2011. Volunteers are heading over to low-income neighborhoods here in the country to help them stay connected by teaching them computer skills. These stories and more coming right up. We begin with Korea's oldest nuclear reactor, Kori No. 1, which will be closed permanently when its operational license expires 2 years later in 2017, becoming the first reactor in the country to be taken offline for good. State-run nuclear operator Korea Hydro and Nuclear Power announced on Tuesday that it will not ask for an extension of the facility that's been running for 38 years now. It added that there are no safety issues with the reactor, but that doubts about economic feasibility contributed to its decision. Environmental groups and residents in the southern port city of Busan, where the reactor is located, have been continuously calling for the reactor to be shut down following the 2011 Fukushima nuclear crisis in Japan. Korean Air will be adding 100 next-generation aircrafts to its fleet as it signed deals with both Airbus and Boeing on Tuesday during the Paris Air Show. The Korean carrier confirmed a combined order worth $6.9 billion, committing to buy 30 A321neo planes from Airbus and 30 Boeing 737 MAX jets. It will take options on 20 more aircrafts from both manufacturers, which will amount to an estimated order of $12.2 billion. Korean Air Chairman Jo Yang-ho says these new orders come as the flag carrier looks to add more environment-friendly and fuel-efficient models. It looks like doors have opened up for Korean mobile phone manufacturer Pantech, once on the brink of liquidation, to revive operations. This is after a court on Tuesday approved a takeover deal by a local consortium led by R&D firm Optus. The company has reportedly submitted a $1.7 million deposit. The formal deal will be settled on July 17th. Pantech, the producer of the Vega phone series, had been in court receivership since August last year after its efforts to find a suitable buyer hit a dead end 3 times. An industry expert says Optus is thinking of carrying on with its R&D activities in Korea, but relocating production to Indonesia. Now, we can't deny the fact that technology has made our lives much easier now, with most of us communicating, studying, working, and even shopping using some type of gadget. But for some people living in Korea's low-income neighborhoods, technology has not been all that accessible. So one major telecom company has decided to take the initiative to change things. And our Lee Ju-young tells us more.
This man surnamed Kim has been living in a low-income neighborhood for over 8 years now. Since he had to quit his job 7 years ago, it's been difficult for him to lead a stable life. But now, he says he has a new dream after one of Korea's leading mobile carriers, KT, opened up computer classes for free.
After I get more certifications, I want to become a computer teacher. Then when I have a fixed income, I want to move to a bigger home.
The classes Kim is taking are provided by a volunteer group called IT Supporters, which was created as a part of KT's social responsibility projects started in 2007. The aim is to enhance computer literacy and bridge the information gap between different income brackets. Made up of around 40 current and retired KT employees, the volunteer group visits lower-income neighborhoods 3 times a week to provide classes on basic computer skills. Some of the more advanced lessons teach students how to edit videos and images and also help them obtain IT certificates in specific fields. The telecom company says if students pass certain qualifications, the company may even provide job opportunities.
We want to share the company's strengths with these residents, and I think it's very meaningful that people can have hope and future goals.
These classes, although small in size, to many are seen as the first stepping stone to new opportunities and potentially fresh careers. Lee Ju-young, Business Daily.
The first car-sharing service here in Korea started back in 2011 as part of the sharing economy movement where people share their assets with others to create value. The Korean market is still relatively young compared to that of the US or Germany, but it's growing to become a more prominent industry. And to tell us more about this car-sharing service, our Kim Min-ji joins us in the studio. So good to have you here.
Morning, Ji-yoon. So like you said, car sharing has been in Korea for about 4 years now, but some people are still unfamiliar with the term. Now, car sharing refers to a rental service that allows users to pick up and drop off their cars at lots and pay by the hour or minute, so it makes them much cheaper. Now, there are currently about 8 service operators in Korea, and they operate 3,000 lots, and that's more than a 90-fold increase since the first service began.
Wow, 90-fold. What an increase there. But now I'm wondering, who are really the main users of this car-sharing service?
So they first targeted young people in their 20s or 30s, but other groups were quick to catch on. And now companies are also signing long-term contracts and the car-sharing services to use for their corporate vehicles. Now, the popularity has been on the rise as the service proves to be an efficient mode of transport, especially for those that commute short distances or those that want to go to a special outing. Take a look. 28-year-old Kim Young-pil may not own a car, but that doesn't stop him from driving. He's a regular user of a local car-sharing service, which he finds convenient as a cross-city commuter.
I live in Sinchon, but I work in Gangnam, and there's a special discount for commuters who use the service, so I end up saving. Also, I don't really like taking crowded public transportation.
Kim is just one of over 400,000 registered users in Korea. The number of users has doubled every year since car sharing first started back in 2011. And companies that got in on this short-term rental concept have been reaping the profits ever since. One company saw its sales reach $13 million last year, up 6-fold from a year ago. This pace of growth is much faster than services in the US and Japan, and 2 to 3 times faster than traditional rental services in Korea. Many car-sharing companies have been able to tap into younger consumers who can't afford to purchase a car just yet, and the development of smartphone technology and internet connectivity has made the service more user-friendly. Not to mention, their relatively cheap prices have also helped attract more customers. But there are some drawbacks. Since it is an unmanned service, there are some thoughtless users who drive the vehicles without care, sometimes leaving behind trash and even the stench of cigarette smoke for the next driver. This not only poses an inconvenience to customers, it also raises quality issues that could eventually affect overall business.
We conduct regular checkups of our cars once every 4 days. Some people have expressed concerns over safety because our prices are so cheap, but we put our customers' safety and satisfaction first.
Experts forecast the local car-sharing market to grow further in the future, but say that expansion policies will have to be readjusted.
In overseas car-sharing services, there's roughly 1 vehicle for every 100 users. But Korea falls far behind this ratio. If customers can't reserve a car when they need it, they will opt for other services.
All right, so looking at this, I guess the key is to be expanding the number of cars in the long term, I guess. But we've been hearing that the service is cheap. What's the price range?
Well, generally speaking, it's cheaper than the traditional rental services because you only pay for the hours that you use. And the base cost is less than $5 for 30 minutes, but obviously that's subject to change depending on the car model that you choose.
Yes.
But considering that taxi fares start at about $3, it's much cheaper in the once you ride it after 30 minutes. So you pay for the first 30 minutes, and after that you can extend it by 10-minute slots and you pay accordingly.
Okay, so now we know the price, but how do we book it?
So it's very simple. So it's probably the biggest advantage. So all you need to do is install the application and sign up. There's no need to visit an office, so it takes less than a minute practically. So all you need to do is select the date, time, and car model that you want, and that's it. So you're given a virtual key on your smartphone, and you go and pick up your car wherever you arranged it. And the same can be done on their website as well.
Oh, it seems really simple. It actually might take a longer time to catch a cab now.
Yeah, that's right.
But how about benefits on a greater scale, maybe for the country as a whole?
Well, as of last year, there were about 20 million registered cars in Korea, and then that means a lot of traffic, but a lot of pollution as well. Now, car sharing services has been able to alleviate this to a certain extent. Now, according to a report by the Korea Transport Institute, one car sharing vehicle scraps the need for 13 regular vehicles on the streets, which produces the same effect as planting nearly 150,000 trees a year. Now, some of the companies are also adding electric cars to their lineup, so the environmental benefits are expected to get bigger. And for the individual themselves, they can save up to about $1,800 a year if they use their car sharing service twice a week rather than their own cars.
Wow, so good for the environment and good for people who need cars and don't have them. All right, thank you so much for coming in today, Minji.
My pleasure.
And that wraps it up for today's edition of Business Daily. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time, same place. Until then, bye-bye.